So good afternoon, Barton. Thank you so much for joining us today. And well, it is kind of redundant, but Happy New Year. I hope you have an amazing holidays
Thank
and
you. Great
enjoy
to
your
be here.
time. And I know it's a lot of work in the beginning of the year, and thank you for helping and supporting me. So I want everybody knows who is Barton Strock. It is a Florida Supreme Court certified civil and county court mediator. Sorry about my accent is kind of hard sometimes. Partner at Stroke, Cohen and Zipper Law Group and Safekey Title and Closings, graduate of Juris Doctorate in 1977, and a part of working in residential and commercial real estate. It's also Barton also practice real estate litigation, foreclosure defense, landlord and tenant act, title insurance claims, planning and probate, community association, among other law practice. So thank you so much to be with us talking about short sales and loan modifications.
So no more estate planning and probate.
No more? Okay,
No
let's.
more, because we've actually changed the name of the firm to SCZ Real Estate Law to
Oh,
show that is all we do, all aspects of real estate law.
oh, okay. So my apologies. I took from your website, so you have to change that.
We're in the process of changing it, but get three partners to agree at one time to a single word.
That's true. That's true. And I am trying to do many changes on my website and everything, and it gets a lot of time to get all together. Like literally, it is. But we are talking today about short sales and loan modifications. Maybe a conversation that we don't have for a long time, and because of the past recession, and we believe that we passed that page a few years now, but it's coming a little in a little way, and always is a short sale was in place because it means for distressed homeowners a way to try to have a transaction or agreement with the bank to get over of the mortgage when they cannot afford to steal payment. But what is the difference between a short sale and going to a short sale or going a loan modification?
So a short sale, you actually sell the property, you move out, and you move on. In a modification, you stay in the property and you try to negotiate with the bank for some type of relief in your monthly payment,
Mhm.
which could be, there's so many options available to the bank if they want to do it or not. Um, that's the difference. Stay or move.
Stay or move, exactly. So in a short sale, we have to get into a distress situation, and the most common is a person who died, a spouse or a family, the loss of the job, a divorce, and basically get into too much debt that it will be for the homeowner not going into their payments in a good way. So,
So it's not necessary to have a full distress.
okay.
So let me move this. So one of the things that you can have is I buy a house, I pay full price for it a year ago, 2 years ago. There's been little increase in that value. And
Mhm.
now my company says, we're transferring you to California. You have to sell your house, you have to move.
Okay.
So I do not have enough equity to pay off that mortgage. So that's a quote distress type of thing, but it's not the sort of thing. I mean, I may be earning more money when I move to California, but I have to apply for a short sale to pay that off. So it doesn't have to be a negative type of the usual distress things. There are other things. I know, like, I got a letter from my employer that I'm being forced to retire in 6 months. I don't want to wait until I default and stop making payments. I want to
Mhm.
start the process now. So sometimes you can do advanced planning and avoid a big hit on your credit.
Okay. And how that can be possible to get not a big hit on the credit?
Well, that's by filing for a short sale when you know there is going to be an event happening in the future which will prevent you from being able to pay, but you could pay now and you're still paying. And banks will look at that. In the old days, they used to tell you, well, stop paying, and then we'll consider it. It's not like that anymore. It's a whole different, short sales are a whole different game. I mean, I refer to 2008, 2010, when the whole crisis started back then, but, we're talking about to the mid 2000 teens.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the Wild West. Nobody knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Everybody made it up, both those applying for short sales and the banks themselves, and servicing companies, and everybody involved as to how to do it. Today, there's a lot more structure to the system to apply for a short sale. However, there will be less. So it used to be that the strategy of a foreclosure defense attorney was, we're going to delay the case as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the property is set for sale, which in those days used to be, you can get up to 90 days, sometimes 120. Sometime towards the end of that, you'd submit a contract for a short sale, and then they would keep extending the time every time you submitted a contract. It's not like that anymore. So the judge must set the sale date within between, I think it's 28 and 35 days from the final judgment. And if you want to get an extension of that date for a short sale, the bank must agree. The judge just cannot order it.
Okay.
And so if you submit that contract a night before, they're not going to agree. I promise you. And a contract has to be reasonable. So
yeah, it cannot be like I will sell the house for $100,000 less than the real value of the property.
Yeah, so I negotiated back in the old days hundreds and hundreds of short sales, and rather than waste my time and spend my staff's time, which costs money, my time too, I would never take a short sale unless I was positive it was at least 90% of the fair market value. So
at that time, I was doing also the broker price opinion in between 2008 and 2010, and we were inside the properties. We see the how the property was well maintained, and that affect the value. And it was hard. I have a short sale for 3 years because the bank sold to see this different bank, and every time they sold the loan, I begin again with a short sale. And at that time, it were not that many rules, and I were not that, like a book, like you can go over. It was fighting time between the bank and the court to avoid the foreclosure. And at the end of 3 years, we sold the home, and the homeowner was basically living there for 3 years without making any payment at that time.
That's hard to happen today for 3 years. But the issues is the criteria are still the same. It doesn't matter how much you owe. What depends is, what's the property worth? Is it worth it for the bank to approve the short sale? And sometimes the broker's price opinion or the bank is going to go to Zillow or some other. Now they have all these online research tools. It may be important when you submit the short sale to have it to invest in an inspection.
Yes.
So you could provide the inspection report to say to the bank, this might look like a beautiful house on the outside, but
it's getting
$40,000 worth of work inside and does not show very well. It's not that we do that many anymore, because, like, as you said, there aren't that many even listed.
Yeah.
But we still try to ask for a moving allowance. banks are not that easy now to do that. Remember back in 2008, 2010, the banks were short of capital.
Yes.
They were very happy to get money in.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that anymore.
No, we have right now short inventory. So whatever is coming on the market, basically, if it's a good price, will get sold in very few days.
And the bank knows it.
Yeah. And also, I was checking for the three counties, Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm County. It's just 48 short sales for sale, and it's 68 for it's closed in the past 6 months, and it's 117 pending. That is basically nothing. It can be just people that are going into a bad moment when we have thousands of properties owned by homeowners. And also we have a lot of houses that I already pay off. We have mostly a healthy market. But I'm looking, some of the properties are or new properties or properties that were sold but by refinancing that the people put on the house during the 2020. So it looks like for some families, they got into too much debt for the times that the interest rate were very low, and they took all the equity of the house to buy another property, which is also, most of them are sold, were bought cash. But what is the main concern right now for, I always said that the people are trying to find something bad on the market to say, like, it is coming. It's like, oh my God, we are going on through like a recession. And what is you mentioned it now that you don't need to be in distress and you are having, you don't need to stop making the payments. But what happened with the homeowner is in distress for so many reasons and they cannot afford the house? What is the process right now to go into talk to the bank and do the short sale as?
The process, the most important part of the process is not to wait till the last minute. Don't wait until after the final judgment is entered and you're a week before the foreclosure sale. It's not going to happen. Because for the bank to accept that, the only way they're going to accept that is if they get paid in full. And then you wouldn't be doing a short sale.
Exactly.
Because they're not going to delay the sale, the foreclosure sale, just because this person might close.
Yeah.
That's the issue. If I'm giving them a contract with a 30-day closing date,
mm-hmm.
with a financing contingency, we don't know. The bank says, I'm not going to delay a foreclosure sale for that. But if I'm a month before or two, if I'm during the process, the litigation process, and no final judgment has been entered, then yes, we could start that. If the later you are, the less chances you have of getting approved in time.
And the timings to go for the bank to put begin the process at the court to put a list pending to send the notification for a foreclosure. What is that timing is for the homeowner?
That is the most impossible question for me to answer. So, I have one case pending now of foreclosure defense, which I don't understand why the attorneys for the bank haven't finished this case a year and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
They have done nothing. I don't know why. There's no defense. The people can't afford it. They can't even afford a modification. They do absolutely nothing to try to stop it.
Wow.
I've done all I could. I filed an answer. I asked for some discovery. I asked for a modification package. My clients never sent in the modification package. And I really have no understanding. They filed their affidavit of attorney's fees months ago. I said to Nina, my paralegal, for those of you that don't know her, I said, I guess they're ready to wrap it up. They filed the affidavit of attorney's fees and costs. Nothing. So It depends upon who the lender is, who the servicer is, what county it is, what judge it is,
Yeah.
who the attorney at the law firm is handling it. I don't know. I've seen them go in 8 to 10 months, and I've seen them take longer.
Okay. So for the homeowners, okay, let's go for now. Be the options. So I know I will have some problems in a few months. My income it's not getting over, or maybe the company I'm working in, it may be closed. So I will have some type of financial trouble. So going into the loan modification side, which makes some hope for the homeowner to try to deal with the bank and try to get modification on the interest rate or the amount or the length of the mortgage. What will be for the homeowners to go first?
Okay, so here's the problems with modifications now. So many of the foreclosures I'm seeing are people who have previously modified their loans. So there may be $300,000, $400,000 in a deferred balance, and the bank's not going to be willing to put any more deferment on any balances at this point because the value of the property just doesn't make it worth it. They're going to lick their wounds and walk away now.
Yeah.
So that's one of the problems. We have people who have defaulted on loans that had been modified once or twice. And for you to come back now again and try to modify again, it may be difficult because there are guidelines with the bank, with FHA, with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, as to the total value of the house versus what is owed. So that's always an issue on a modification.
Okay.
Also, interest rates. The banks had no problem lowering you to a 2% loan a few years ago.
Yeah.
Now money's costing the bank a lot more money. You know, the discount rate the banks are paying on the money is higher. So I can't see them lowering many loans to 2%. That's another issue. Why we're seeing fewer modifications. But it's always worth exploring. So I never could predict when a modification would be granted or not because the bank had so many options. So the bank could say, okay, we're going to lower your payment to 2%, 3%, 2.5%, 4% for the next 24 months or something, or forever. And we're going to take the deferred balance and put it at the end. When you sell the property, we'll get it. Or we're going to take this much and capitalize it. So the banks could play with the numbers and create their own equation of X plus Y equals Z, change X and Y to get to the payment they think you could afford. However, there's a limit on how low they can go on interest now.
Yeah.
So, and if you already have a large deferred balance from a previous modification, that could be a hindrance also. So, I mean, and you got to prove that whatever payment you're trying to get or they're willing to give you, that you can pay.
Yeah, I see what you said about the loan modifications and foreclosures because I see that so many families sometimes try to go and fix it temporary, and then they basically cannot afford the payment per se. So it doesn't matter how low it will be. It's basically I cannot make payments anymore. Even that will cost to lose the house and go for rental, and the rentals are absolutely sometimes higher than what they are paying right now. It is the position for the stress for what is coming, and I see that happen. And obviously, if you are going into a but it's snowball. It's like, okay, now you own this, but then in 10 years you maybe own this much. So you feeling like you are not going nowhere.
And you're
In that.
not, but
So,
there's those people that's hope springs eternal,
mhm,
that it's going to work out. It reminds me from the early 2000s and things, when people would come in to refinance their home to pay off their credit card debt.
yeah,
And the loan officer would be there at the closing and say, okay, in 2 years, you know, you'll pay all your bills, your credit will get better, and we'll refinance you at a lower rate. Well, they were back in 2 years to pay off the new credit card debt with the additional income, the additional equity that the property had accrued. So we all have good ideas. We all have the best plans to get our house in order. But in this day and age, with the problems with employment, even
mhm,
though we are a highly employed state, the fact is that income for a vast majority of the population is limited to a
yeah,
certain level. Mortgage prices are going up, home prices are going up, rent prices are going up.
mhm,
So sometimes they can't afford to do anything but just sit and stay and ride it out as long as possible.
yes,
And try and do a short sale, which I'll get back to in a minute. But what they don't do is they don't save any money. So when the final foreclosure occurs, there's no money to go rent a place other than a dump. Remember, their credit is not good
yeah,
because they're in foreclosure. So that rules out certain housing, where people are looking to Class A, high credit score tenants.
mhm,
Um, and you could have very little or no debt, but because you're in foreclosure, you may have had a great job but lost that job, and so you're a good risk, but your credit score went down. Um, and the other problem is that, they don't save that money to go anywhere, because they're going to have to pay first, last, and security.
yes. Oh, yeah.
So
And the 3 months,
these
you're not going
rents
away.
and the cost of moving their goods.
Yeah,
So with these rents today, you need a minimum of $10,000 to
mhm.
get out of that house and into a reasonable accommodation rental.
Yeah, I feel sometimes that we don't have the proper financial education. Hi, Nick. And it's because the easy way to get in debt. Let's face it. We get credit cards, and then in 3 months we get a credit card for $1,000, and then in less than a year we have $10,000 in probably credit that we can use. And then we see something that we like, and you just use, and I will pay it the next month, and we go put it inside the bucket. But we don't make the prevention that we can get sick, which will be the easy thing that can happen, or for the normal job, oh, somebody can be better than you, and then you say like, oh, you are getting out.
It's
And
the same thing as, I'll just have one more drink.
mhm, yeah,
I'll just I'll just do this drug, but I won't go on to any more drugs.
exactly.
You know, it's okay. I'm going to go on a diet, but Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, I could do anything I want because those are fun days.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, that's more than a third of the year. That's almost half the year, Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays, because we know we can make, many more than National St. Patrick's Day. It's not a quote holiday. We in the legal or real estate profession know it.
it's a big holiday.
I'm not dieting today holiday, but that's what happens. The same thing with credit cards.
Yes.
So the simple education is, I can't spend more than I earn.
Mm-hmm.
And lesson number 2 is, whatever I earn, I should take 10% off the top and put it away for a rainy day. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about investing or future or anything, just for the rainy day fund, the contingency fund.
Mhm.
It's really simple, 2 lessons.
Yeah.
But, I'm just as guilty as other people at times.
Yeah.
I've reached that stage in life that at least, now I can pay my credit cards as they're accrued. But God, believe me, I've gone through that. Um, I don't maintain a balance anymore.
That's good.
But that's 17% or whatever you're paying on those balances, 23%. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it is. So coming back a little for the short sales, I see that for the numbers that are coming, FHA loans are getting more hit in the short sale right now. It's not high, but it's a little because the people who bought the houses use little money to get in and hype the top of the price. So you said that it's not the court are not helping that much because it's not too many and the banks know the values and the inventory. So what will be how we can help, how we can get a little more of information, how get into and move forward on the short sale.
Here's the good and the bad of that. The good is start early. The court's not going to delay your foreclosure sale because you just submitted a contract. They're not allowed to. The Fourth District Court of Appeal has a case that says unless the bank consents to a postponement of the foreclosure sale, the court may not postpone it. Plain and simple. And the judge will say, gee, I'd love to do this for you, but unless they consent, and they're not consenting. I have not been to one hearing where I've actually stopped filing those hearings because I never went to one that they would consent. So you got to start early, okay? And then we come to the problem for you and me, Jack.
Mm-hmm.
If the sale is not reasonable, if the seller, the borrower, is not reasonable, if the seller has no place to go on the date of the sale and decides, I'm not going through with this, we've wasted our time and our money.
Yeah.
So we need to be pretty sure. I actually make the people pay $500 up front because I want to do a title search and a lien search to make sure that property is even saleable.
Exactly.
So we charge a $500 consult fee from which we order a title and a lien search. They have to provide me with the association printout to show that they're up to date on their monthly or whatever maintenance payments to the association.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to run a title search just before closing and find out, oh, look, there's $100,000 tax lien against this person. Or they put in windows without permits,
Yeah.
and did all sorts of things. Let's face it, the longer that property has been in distress, the more chance that the homeowner has violated either the terms of other payments,
Yeah.
or credit cards have gotten getting judgments against them, or a tax lien. So we want to be able to, before we spend any time, we require a $500 deposit.
And as a realtor, that we are representing a homeowner that is in distress. And before, when we agree with have all the documentations, the bank statements, and all that, a letter, and all the process that maybe now is not working in the same way. But let's say that we are in front of a seller, and we receive an offer. How long we have to? What will be the recommendation to put for the closing? 60, 90 days. Before we put 90 days, and then we will renovate and make an extension and extension and extension.
So I have a short sale addendum that I use. So the realtors I work with, I say, don't use that addendum that FAR gives you, okay? Because that doesn't help at all.
Okay.
We need one that's going to keep the seller in and keep the buyer in. And so that's what I use. So I usually tell the realtor I work with, okay, first, here's the addendum you should be using. And before you invest time taking pictures or going and doing anything, allow us to run the title search and the lien search.
Yeah.
So that seller has to retain us. That doesn't include foreclosure defense or anything like that. There's really very little defense.
Yeah.
The courts have made it clear now over the years.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, on the actual foreclosure defense part of the case, most of those I'll refer out to friends of mine that still do that. I'll handle the short sale. I'll help with a modification sometimes. But a person should be able, in most cases, to do a modification themselves with the lender. For them to pay me, I mean, it's their papers. Here's 3 months of bank statements. Here's 3 months of pay stubs. Here's 3 years of tax returns. Get your accountant to help you. Get somebody, a friend, if you get overwhelmed by that. But to pay me to do that.
Yeah, but you know what? I think it happened, and that basically, maybe myself looking at it, it is, you feel like the lender may don't understand you, and you don't have like enough credibility on the lender side to discuss why you need a loan modification. So you are looking for more support and respect, like, come here and talk to me and let them know that this is what happened to me. And this is
How
what
much support do you need to say 2 + 2 = 4? Okay, here's what happened. I lost my job, my pay got cut, my spouse died, my dog died. I mean, I've seen everything. I got sick. But it's really a hardship letter should be no more than a sentence or two. What was the frickin' hardship that you had? We don't need a whole story. And then here's what I earned and here's what I have in the bank. And, I can't tell the bank, well, nah, that's too much. I think you should charge them less. The bank wants to keep a loan on the books that's paying.
Yeah.
If it's financially within their formula. That's it. I don't even know what that formula is, and nobody who does modifications knows that. Because like I say, the bank could play with how long the loan is extended, what amount is going to be capitalized to a deferred balance, what's the interest rate going to be. Keep it simple. So you got a better chance if you don't make the person at the bank work too hard.
Yeah, of course.
Hey, this looks like a nice person. I feel bad for them. Look what happened. Their dog died.
Yeah, and it is something that with the loan modification, it's not like they will just take and reduce the interest rate or put the length of the mortgage. It's any money that it is not getting at that time, it will be added to the end of the mortgage or to the mortgage balance to pay off.
So they used to do some, if you make 3 years of timely payments, we'll forgive a certain amount. And they could do that too. There are all sorts of different things, but none of them involve legal.
Yeah.
And people are really not, other than an attorney who's representing the person, are not allowed to charge anything to assist with a modification.
Oh.
Because you need to be a licensed mortgage loan officer because you're actually underwriting a loan.
Yeah. It's more assistant. It's more like the assistant to do the process.
Right.
So we get perfect. So we have getting early on the process, know what is inside your title and your search. Be honest on what you are trying to do, and it's up to the bank and the court to approve that short sale.
Yes.
Okay. And you see that it is, besides it's not too many, the judge are like don't like pushing like okay, let's help more because
They can't.
okay.
They can't. The appellate decisions, which we didn't have any in 2008,
Mhm.
now we have all these appellate decisions as to what the banks can do, can't do, language in the loans and everything, types of notice, what's required. And the court said, plain out and simple, you cannot extend the foreclosure date without the express consent of the lender.
Perfect. Okay. But hopefully this will not be a higher number anytime soon. And we are getting into still in a very safe market for homeowners and buyers. And I would like to give the people that are watching us now and later on with the recordings your phone number and the way they can contact you if they have any questions about getting into the short sale process.
Sure. Anything about real estate law, closings, landlord-tenant, partition, um, foreclosures, modifications, they could reach me at 954-634-1769. That is my direct number. If I don't answer, that goes over to my paralegal, Nina, who can answer a lot of questions, or she'll set you up with an appointment for me, a no-cost consult, or bstrock@strocklaw.com. BSTROCK, my name, at strocklaw.com. It's not just me. We're three partners, three equal partners, but considering I was there first, they left Strock Law. So
I have one question here before I let you go, and I let you go. So, how the real estate agent have to present themselves into the seller that are getting very overwhelmed, or you know, they don't want, they feel like they say like it's more shame, like I feel like I did something wrong. What would be the best approach for a real estate agent trying to get into a short sale process with a distressed homeowner?
So if they're stressed, you should refer them to a therapist. You know, we all have our different ways of dealing with stressful clients. Sometimes I just have to let a client talk. I have to. So as you mentioned earlier, I'm a certified mediator. So, there's disputes. People are stressed that they're in a dispute. People are angry that someone they think screwed over them and now they're forced to go to court. They're paying an attorney. So each case is different how you deal with a person. A lot of times you have to let them just get their story out and let them know that you're not alone. That, this happens to a lot of people. It may have happened to me. So
It happened to me.
yeah, I've been there. So, that's, and then let them know they have options, they have alternatives. Could I guarantee you these options will work? No. I believe you undersell and over-deliver. Don't promise anything because it's not in your power to promise. I could promise you I'll be there every step of the way. I will promise you I will help you. I promise you I'll do the best for you. But in the end, it's the bank's decision.
Yes.
To approve a short sale, so you don't have a quote foreclosure on your record, or to approve a modification. And all we could do is submit the best package possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that for the bank. And we did all, and we got the home under contract and everything. And we have by that time, a very tough situation. And then at the end, the seller, who was my husband at the time, he got very scared about all the process. And we got one mortgage, the, the, the first lien approved, but the equity loan, it was not approved. And he got concerned about the amount of money that maybe that he was. And at that time, he didn't know that his health, it was going onto the drain. And we lost the house in a foreclosure 6 months later for an amount that it was like, oh my God, you really. But yeah, it was a tough time. And for the beginning, nobody can guarantee us. I do all the process for the short sale with the broker at the time, but because was the house I was living, he said like, do you yourself. And I learned a lot about going over hours with the bank. And then the bank said like, I will not pay you any commission. I said like, I don't want any commission. So
Right.
That's not the point.
If you are entitled or related to the title holder, no commission.
Yeah. But at the end, everything was done, and the seller, who was him, decided not to move forward. The house went in foreclosure. So it can happen. So I can relate to that.
So there's another issue, a second mortgage. People think that their second mortgages were forgiven in the first crisis. The banks just stopped trying to collect on them, but the mortgage is still there. I went bankrupt, so that mortgage is gone. No, the mortgage is still there. The lien on the property is there. You're just not personally responsible for it. But if you sell the house, that might pop up. So there's a whole, that's why we run title searches.
Yeah. And what happened if you see the second mortgage said like, they can basically go against the seller, even that the property is not there? Or was for
they could sue them on the loan unless there's been a bankruptcy. But recently we've had a few because property values increased. The people had modified the first or whatever, or stayed there, and now there was equity, and the second started foreclosing in the last few years. Old seconds that haven't been paid in 5-10 years.
Yeah, because of the equity.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the market and depends on the how old is the house and how much money they own. So yeah, it is a real long list of different aspects that they have to be taken in consideration, and you can win one or all at the same time. So thank you again, Barton.
Thank you, Jackie. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Me too. And we will see you next week. I will put the calendar for what is coming. And Barton.
What are we talking about next week?
Oh, let me check because it's
I can try to get ready.
Yeah. Well, Kim is ready. Nina is ready. I know that. And we have some changes on the times.
Restrictions on certain foreign persons from purchasing property in Florida.
Yeah.
The 7 countries of concern.
Second countries, yeah, and all the changes that are coming, and the registrations, and all the questions that you may have more than me about what is coming, or what is next, or is anything coming.
Well, I have no crystal ball. I can tell you what's come already. I can tell you what's happening now.
Okay.
But I can't tell you what's coming in the future.
Yeah. So we will talk in that next week, and I will do everything. And thank you again for your time and for your expertise. So see you next week.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.